Hello everyone. The Graves of Academe, published in 1981, gives us an understanding of the modern education system of today. Written by Richard Mitchell, this book highlights the work of a columnist at the Sun-Times of Chicago. The columnist's name is Mike Royko. In his article, he referred to the spawn of the system as the new barbarians. This referred to a particular incident in which 11 people were trampled to death at a concert in Cincinnati. The humanist teacher, Robert Massack, a teacher of English in Bloom Township in Chicago Heights, had his students write letters to Royko explaining the situation that took place in Cincinnati. One of the students explained that people die every second, and what would you do if you paid $15 for a ticket? This shows you just what the values that the education system teaches. Now the children on page 78, quote, "The children who wrote the Royko papers are juniors and seniors in high school. They are probably from 16 to 19 years old. They have spent 11, 12, or more years in our humanistic, values-oriented schools. What their teachers have praised as creativity looks remarkably like anarchic self-indulgence, which is what creativity must always be in the want of discipline and skill. Their much encouraged self-expression cannot be distinguished from dissolute libertinism, a virulent form of self-expression where there is no self-knowledge. Their enhanced self-esteem has blossomed into an arrogant narcissism, a perversion of self-esteem where there is no idea of what is estimable." End quote. Now, how did we get to this position? In that vein, we will look at the Cardinal Principles of Secondary Education, a report by the Commission on the Reorganization of Secondary Education, which was appointed by the Education Association and is the driving document for current educationist doctrine of today, as explained in Richard Mitchell's book, The Graves of Academe. Now, the Department of the Interior at the time was the oversight of the Education Department. Today, the Education Department is a almost standalone agency of the federal government. Now, let's take a look at the members of this commission, which we will look at their backgrounds, and we also find that most of them are teachers overseeing other teachers. No conflict of interest there. In fact, 2 of the members of the commission went to Ivy League schools. One went to Columbia and the other Harvard. Now let's look at the page in this document where they explain their definition of democracy. Quote, "The purpose of democracy is so to organize society that each member may develop his personality primarily through activities designed for the well-being of his fellow members and society as a whole." Now, if that doesn't make your skin crawl, then you're probably an educationist. Now, when looking at another page in the Cardinal Principles of Secondary Education, you find a very disturbing section that explains the viewpoint that educationists of today, quote, "In the education of every high school girl, the household arts should have a prominent place because of their importance to the girl herself and to others whose welfare will be directly in her keeping. The attention now devoted to this phase of education is inadequate, and especially so for girls preparing for occupations not related to the household art and for girls planning for higher institutions. The majority of girls who enter wage-earning occupations directly from the high school remain in them for only a few years, after which homemaking becomes their lifelong occupation. For them, the high school period offers the only assured opportunity to prepare for that lifelong occupation, and it is during this period that they are most likely to form their ideals of life's duties and responsibilities." End quote. On page 12 of the same document, we find the most important principle that these founders of the modern education system highlight. Quote, "Health. Health needs cannot be neglected during the period of secondary education without serious danger to the individual and the race. The secondary school should therefore provide health instruction, inculcate health habits, organize an effective program of physical activities, regard health needs in planning work and play, and cooperate with home and community in safeguarding and promoting health interests." Notice this does not say healthy, it says health. And its primary objective is to cooperate with home and community in safeguarding and promoting health interests. Summary, which this provides a perfect summary of the current situation that we see today with the pandemic and rampant mandates and dictatorships that have seemed to spring up out of nowhere. Moving on to the next page, 13, we find how these architects of knowledge and reason view boys. Quote, "In the education of boys, some opportunity should be found to give them a basis for the intelligent appreciation of the value of the well-appointed home and of the labor and skill required to maintain such a home, to the end that they may cooperate more effectively. For instance, they should understand the essentials of food values, of sanitation, and of household budget." Sounds an awful lot like slavery. I would imagine that the end of that sentence, cooperate more effectively, would end with the word community or possibly society.